Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tori and today we are going to be working in my Week in the Life album for 2024 on days Wednesday and Thursday. So I had fully intended to kind of get this project really done by this week. It's Monday the 6th right now. But last week at work was super hectic for me, and I just didn't have the energy to really do any type of recording or crafting at all last week. So I just kind of didn't do it. And I have decided that my goal is by the end of this week to have this project completely done. So after today's video, I will only need to record one more video, which should be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then do a final flip through, which the final flip through is usually the easiest. So for today's video, I'm starting off doing the same thing that I did for the last video, which is creating these date cards. I really still love these, and I'm so excited to have them for every day of the week, and I'm so excited to have like a good use for this stamp set, this numbered stamp set as well. Now that I've got these cards all stamped out, I'm going to go ahead and get started on Wednesday. I did go ahead and pre-cut out all of my photos this time. And I also printed my journaling on just my regular cardstock that I use for my everyday pattern printing whenever I print digitals out. So I am not going to be able to see through this paper like I was doing for the regular printer paper. So what I decided to do was just kind of lay my photo over top of my journaling, and I'm just drawing a pencil line around one of the corners, and I'm going to cut off two corners, line those two corners up with the edge of my photo, and then use my paper trimmer to trim off the excess so that everything is perfectly aligned. And this worked out really well for me. So there is a tip if anybody else is interested in trying that out, especially because I didn't measure these two journaling pages like at all. I kind of just like zoomed out to kind of shrink them down a little bit and did not measure them at all. Whereas the last time I did this for Monday and Tuesday, I definitely put those into a secondary app on my phone and actually measured them out to make sure that they were 8¼ by 7 inches. This one, I just kind of totally wung it. So I'm glad that it worked out. So I'm pulling my album back out, and we're going to start kind of working through these actual pages within my album. I am going to pull out this page protector that I placed in here that's got the 2 3x4 pockets and the 4x6 pocket, because I don't actually have any 4x6 photos for this day. So I'm going to replace that pocket with a 4 3x4 pocket. And my daughter kind of snuck in here and was saying hi and pretending that she was recording a video. So I thought that was super cute, so I just left it in there. So there was a little sneaky daughter interlude for you. So anyways, I am going to go ahead and start getting some of these items placed in my pockets. I'm going to do somewhat similar of what I did for Monday and Tuesday, where I just lay out all of my photos first, and then I will go back and kind of focus on doing my embellishments and embellishing, because the placement of the photos is actually what's the most difficult for me whenever I'm working in pocket pages. So it takes me the longest. So I find that it's easier for me to kind of pre-place everything out and figure out where I want it to go. And then I can just pull the pages or the photos or whatever I have in that pocket. I can pull it back out and add any embellishing that I want to add once I've got everything else. That's kind of the more difficult thing for me to decide once I've got that decided. So I did decide, and I know I think I mentioned this in my last video, but I'm going to be using these little days of the week pockets. These are from last year's Week in the Life kit. I'm going to be using these to document my daughter being in Georgia. So my sister-in-law actually made a post on Facebook for most of the days that she was up there, not all of them, but for quite a few of the days that she was up there, she made a little post about my daughter being up there in Georgia and what they did. So I actually went and took screenshots of each of those posts, and I'm placing those screenshots in these little kind of pockets. And then for Monday, because she didn't leave until Tuesday, I'm actually going to place a photo of all of her luggage and stuff that she had packed up to take with her up to Georgia. So I think that's actually going to work out pretty perfectly. And then any extra photos that I have printed out that might not fit, or I might not have enough room without pulling out another page protector, I'm going to tuck those photos of her in these pockets as well. So for Wednesday, I had a couple of photos that I didn't actually pull in on my iPad and add any type of journaling or anything to. So I'm going to pull out some of my Posca paint pens and just add a little bit of journaling to some of these photos. So this one that's right on my screen here is actually a Oreo mint chocolate chip milkshake that I made because my blood sugar had dropped. Like, it was dropping very, very quickly, and I couldn't find my little glucose tablets. So I was like, you know what? A milkshake might help me. So I made a milkshake with the last bit of the ice cream that we had, and it was so good. Probably the only good thing ever that I've experienced about having low blood sugar is that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it makes everything taste so good. Anyways, so let's see, what am I doing now? So I'm going to kind of see if I can figure out what I want to do on that last page. And I'm pulling anything that I'm going to be using my Posca paint markers on. I'm not tucking those in right away because I don't want the paint to smear. So I just tucked that one photo back in. I have a text message thread with my friend here, Brooke, and we were just kind of talking about some of the stamps that I created, and that was an actual earlier photo in this particular day. I had gotten in some of the stamp samples for some stamps that I had purchased and created myself. You won't be able to see in too much detail those stamps in the photo because I kind of had them overlaying each other. But I got those in, and I had sent them to her to let her know that I got them because she was the person that I was messaging and asking questions and thoughts and opinions and stuff on about it. So we were talking about it and just how excited we both were for them, because I did give her one of the samples that I got for giving me so many valuable opinions and feedback. This photo right here used so much of my black ink, which is so awful, but regardless, I really liked it, and I wrote the name of the movie that we had watched. My husband and I watched Anyone But You, and I think this was on Netflix. So we watched this. It was actually quite funny, and we both really enjoyed it. So I wanted to have a photo of the movie as it was ending, and I wanted to include that in our day because we both really liked that movie. I'm now kind of just pulling out some 6x8 papers that I have, and these are true 6x8 papers, and I struggle to use just these regular 6x8 papers, so I decided to pull them out and use some of these as little filler cards. So I'm going to create for Wednesday quite a few filler cards to add to my pages to just kind of fill up some of this space that I had left empty. I didn't have enough photos to fill all two. I have two 4-pocket page protectors. I didn't have enough photos to fill both of them, but I didn't have few enough photos to only use one. So I'm just filling in the extra spaces with these pocket cards that I'm going to be making. Another thing that I have really been enjoying doing, I have a couple of embellishments that are kind of like fabric or leather embellishments. I really like placing those texturized embellishments that aren't just like cardstock or chipboard on the outside of my page protectors, because then as I'm flipping through, I can still kind of feel that texture. And I think that that's super, I just really like that. Here is where I'm making a card to go along with the photo of me holding up my stamps. So that's kind of what that was. Like I said, you can't really see what they are, but I was very excited to have gotten those in the mail on Wednesday. So I definitely made sure to take a photo with them, and I wanted to make sure to document that as well. And then up in the other corner, I'm going to pull out another one of these 6x8 pages to create another kind of pocket card. And this one's just going to be like a little dotted paper. The first one was kind of a cement paper, which actually matched my backdrop almost perfectly. I thought that was kind of hilarious. But on this secondary pocket card that I'm making, I'm just using the vellum square that said today's stuff, and I'm just going to staple that on that kind of pocket card that I made, and then trace the outline of the square with one of the borders that I like to use in my bullet journaling. I've got one last pocket here that I'm just completely unsure of what I want to do with this. So I had toyed with the idea of just using an existing pocket card that I've already had and cutting a new one. And then I realized that I actually have 2 pieces of these scraps that I used for the other 2 pocket cards that I created. And if I just attached those together, they would be the perfect size as an actual pocket card. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to lay those side by side, and then I'm going to take a scrap piece of white paper and just attach them together and trim that down so it fits perfectly within a 3x4 pocket. And then I'm going to pull out one of the pleather pieces that came in the kit this year. I think it was the main kit for Week in the Life this year, and I'm just going to adhere that onto these 2 pieces of patterned paper and stick that in the pocket. And then as I am kind of moving stuff around afterwards, I find the Wednesday, this story, I think is what that says, or the story kind of chipboard piece. And I thought it looked fantastic just on top of that and sign. So I went ahead and threw that on there. And I'm just kind of doing a little last flip through of Wednesday just to make sure there was nothing else I wanted to get done before we move on to Thursday. And very similarly to my Monday and Tuesday video the other week, I flew through Thursday, whereas Wednesday in this one took me so much longer. And that was the same as it was for me with my last video. Like, I flew through Tuesday, but Monday took me forever. So I'm guessing it's just in me kind of getting into the rhythm of things that makes it take so much longer for me to do the first one. Who knows? But I am getting everything kind of trimmed out here for my journaling to place on the back of my kind of main photo, my separator photo for the day. And this is actually a bunch of little kind of figurines for like shows and stuff that I like to watch that I actually have on my desk. And I thought it would be a really good thing to include in my Week in the Life album because it's not something that I think I've ever documented, like these little kind of figurines that I like to collect. So I thought it would be really good to include this in my album this year. So I did notice with this method of using the timeline journaling and just pasting that on the back of a larger photo, I did notice that whenever I go to punch my holes in these, that it does in some cases cut into some of the words that I have printed on my journaling. Though all of the ones that it has kind of briefly or partially cut into, it's still like fairly obvious the word that I had actually written there. So it's not bothersome to me at this point, but like if you do take inspiration from that and decide to do it, just kind of be mindful of that it is possible that you could cut into your journaling with your holes and kind of arrange your papers that way. So this is an example of the posts that my sister-in-law was making. I only have one on video for Thursday. I've got a couple others already saved that I just need to print out for my other days. But Thursday was the only one that I actually had ready to go at the time that I was recording this video. I also, for this day, did not take a kind of artsy 3x8 photo. So I decided not to beat myself up about that because it was one of the things that I was trying to do every day. But instead, I decided to use this as an opportunity to kind of just use up some of the pattern paper that I have in my crafty space, and just get some stuff used up. You know, I don't want to call myself a hoarder because I don't think I'm hoarding anything, but I do like to collect a lot of things. And sometimes I just feel like I have so much stuff that I get overwhelmed and don't want to flip through it all. But not having a photo for this day caused me to need to flip through some things. And I actually found a pattern paper that worked really well with the color for Thursday. So I think it worked out quite nicely in the end. And I'm glad that at least for this video, I was pulling out some of these papers that I've had sitting around for quite a while and using them to create either pocket cards and cover up some spaces that I didn't actually have photos to fill in. I had a brief moment where I was really struggling for that particular yellow banner that I just stapled down. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but I was just poking it and just really not wanting to actually staple that down. I thought that the plastic pieces came with 6 black and white banners, but it only came with 3 black and white banners. So I no longer have any more of the black and white banners, and I just wasn't sure how I wanted to proceed, and ultimately just ended up kind of biting the bullet and just stapling that yellow one down. That might bother me in the future, or maybe just in the present it's going to bother me. That I've got black and white for 3 days straight, and then I'm going to end up flipping around and doing other things because I ran out of the black and white ones. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll download the digital and see if I can just print that out myself, because I'm still very upset that there's not 7 of each color. So for this day, I have been taking a photo of my coffee every morning so far. And this one I actually kind of sat up and sat my coffee in front of me to try and get kind of a different take on the photo. And at that same time, my son was just laying off of the side of my bed, just looking at Pokemon cards at like 6 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, okay, kid. So I snapped a picture of him doing that. So I'm documenting kind of our little morning on this first page, and then flipping over and I will be documenting my drive to work. So I worked in the office on this day. So I'm going to use my Posca paint pen to just write on that photo of me driving to work. And then I also had the book that I was listening to at the time, which I can't even remember the title of, and I can't see it on my screen here. I think it was called Fake Out, but I could be 100% lying to you, so don't take me for my word on that. But I was listening to that book on this day, so I figured that would go perfect with my driving photo, since I usually listen to books while I'm driving. On this next page here, I've got a picture of me at my actual desk at work, and the photo next to it looks a little funky because I've got a sticky note covering most of it, because I have a whiteboard on my desk, and we actually had kind of team huddles this day. So I was taking notes so that I could send out a huddle recap, and there's actual identifiers for my place of work on there. So I wanted that to be covered up. So I just covered it with a sticky note. On this very last one, I'm placing my quote card. I actually didn't have a quote or a meme or anything for this day, so that's going to be something that I'll have to come back and do kind of at the end of the week before I do my final flip through. But I found a card that has all of the days of the week. I really liked that, so I kind of just stuck that in there. And I had a picture of my computer that I was downloading Steam on because I have been playing I've been playing Wildflowers on my PC for the past couple of weeks, and I've just been obsessed with it. And I think I talked about this in my last video too. So I wanted to download it on my laptop so I could play it like away from my actual desk. And so that's what I was doing in that last photo right before bed, is downloading Steam onto my PC so that I could play the game on my computer as well, on my laptop as well. And then the last thing that I'm doing here is just kind of going through and adding embellishments to any photos that may need them. I have been placing a photo of each of my plants in these pages. And what I've been doing for those particular plants is actually going in and looking up their like official, like, I don't even know what the word is, but like, I want to say their legal names, but like, that's not obviously what it's called, but you know what I mean. I've been looking up their official names and then just pulling the photos into Procreate and writing down the official plant names with them as well. And I'm already doing my final flip through. Wow, I didn't even notice. I've been rambling again, sorry. But yeah, that's all I've got for you today. Is Wednesday and Thursday in my Week in the Life 2024 album. Let me know if you've been working on your Week in the Life, and how far are you in it? Are you already done? Are you in the midst of it, still working on it, or have you not even started if you are doing this project? Anyways, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye!